How do you make the transition from standard to wild? A lot of you guys are standard players, and you would like to check out wild, or at least give it a try, but you have no idea where to start, which cards to craft, which decks to play. So this is going to be the video that explains to you everything you need, starting with misconceptions about wild, which cards you need, which decks you can play, wild resources, and more and more and more. I've been playing wild since it came out, and in the past year played around 14,000 games in wild. During my streams over on twitch.tv/Solem, you're invited to join, to ask any questions live. And with that being said, let's get into it. So first off, the main misconception about wild is expensive. No. Wild is so much cheaper than standard. In standard, you get to craft a new deck every single expansion. You know what happens in wild? You keep your deck forever. Remember Jade Druid from 4 years ago? Well, that's still a deck. That still works. The core of the deck stays the same. You remember Witchwood? Even and odd decks? Well, they're still around in wild. They still have the exact same core. The thing that happens in wild, every time a new expansion gets released, not necessarily new decks get created, but the existing decks become better. And you never have to worry about your cards rotating out. And then you gotta disenchant everything because you don't play the format, and then you gotta play standard again, then you gotta invest more money, and then no. Now, even more importantly, the top decks right now are all aggressive. What do aggro decks have in common? They are insanely cheap. All those decks ran a maximum of 3 legendaries, and you have Zeliax, most likely. Epics don't see that much play in wild, so all you really need are common and rare cards, and you have a good deck. You have a really good foundation. I would even argue, if you spend 2,000 dust per class, you have a viable deck for every class. You want to play the aggressive deck? You just want to win? You can do so. Many people have an 85% plus win rate from rank 25 to rank 10. So if you would just like to smog and go through, secure your epic, you can do so easily. It's a wonderful place. Let's take a look how you actually get into wild. You played standard, all your decks are standard, what do you do? So the first thing is, you gotta click this button up there. You switch to wild. In case that doesn't work, craft one wild card / buy a wild pack. I think you automatically unlock wild the moment you have a wild card. Now you have some wild cards, you would like to play wild. How do you get access to wild cards? Your collection manager only shows you standard cards. If you create a deck, hover over the name and then select convert to wild. As you know, every single standard deck can be played in wild, but wild decks can't be played in standard. So you can even just play your standard deck in wild for the beginning. They also work. Now you get your first wild card, you created your deck. How do you get the cards? Which cards do you need? Where do you start? First off, let's take a look at cards that are actually free. If you select the adventure mode, the very first wing of both Karazhan as well as Knights of the Frozen Throne is free. It's completely free to play, it's already unlocked for you. If you play Karazhan, I think you get something like Fireland's Portal and another common card for free. In Knights of the Frozen Throne, I think you get a free Death Knight. So you get a free legendary card just for playing against the NPC for a few minutes. You get those two. Now where do we get the wild cards from? Well, if you head over to the shop, you will see at the very bottom every single wild expansion that you can buy and purchase with gold, as well as all the adventures. Now here's the downside. The adventures can only be purchased with real life money, which means you gotta use, you know, 20 bucks and more. Disclaimer here, if you ever want to invest real life money into the game, buy the adventures and disenchant the legendaries. For $20, you're guaranteed 5 legendaries. Almost all the adventure cards are horrible. Not horrible like in unplayable, but in they don't really see play. If we take a look at Black Oak Mountain, for example, the only card that sees play from there is Taurison as a legendary. Now you would get guaranteed 4 legendaries you can disenchant for 20 euros, plus insane amounts of fun. I have a video covering every single thing about cards for wild now, which is linked up there. I talk about every single wild card from the sets and the adventures. Which card you need, which card you can disenchant in case you would like to have a detailed guide. If you've never bought any of those packs, in the very first 10 packs, you are guaranteed to get a legendary. So to maximize the dust that you get for your gold, buy one pack, open it. If it is a legendary, stop buying the set. If it's not one, buy another one, up to 10 packs, until you get a guaranteed legendary. Now from all those sets, the only 2 you should buy more than the first 10 packs from are Cohorts and Catacombs, as well as Knights of the Frozen Throne. All the other sets kinda suck. So please do me a favor, don't buy those packs. Rather buy classic packs, they are better. Descent of Dragons packs, Rise of Shadows, any of those, they are better, guaranteed. What now? Now it will be time, probably the first thing you did anyways, regardless of this video. Now it's time to, build a deck, craft a deck. And for that I gotta say, if you are not heavily invested into the game, so you don't have tens of thousands of dusts, all you can really do is either play a meme deck, a homebrew deck that you made yourself, or you play a more aggressive deck, because all the aggressive decks are fairly cheap. If I would like to show you a control style deck or combo deck, usually they include like 6 to 10 legendaries, so those would be decks you would like to build over time. Do me one favor, disenchant every card you don't play. At the end of the day, it's just a game. There's no point in keeping legendaries that never see play. There are over 340 legendaries in this game. Do you know how many see play? If we talk about competitive decks and decks that actually win, less than 100. If you talk about meme decks and kinda combo decks and you just want to have fun, maybe like 150. But over 200 legendaries are complete garbage. They are so bad, if you play Boulder Fist Ogre, you have a better chance of winning. Now, because I got you covered, we're quickly going through 9 different decks. One for each class, all relatively cheap, all viable, all like tier 2 or something. And they're definitely going to work and will win you games. Guaranteed. I know that because I took every single deck list from one person that got to at least top 100 legend. Now for a Druid deck. Jade Druid is probably the archetype of Druid that people like the most. You can play anything you can imagine, because it's wild. You can even play even Druid. But to focus on the decks we have here. We got Jades. How does Jade Druid work? I'm going to explain the decks a little bit more detailed just in case you really never heard of them. So Jade Druid got enabled about 4 years ago because there's one card over there, Jade Idol. It reads, summon a Jade Golem. Or shuffle 3 of those into your deck. Meaning you can go infinite, right? You're out of cards, you shuffle it, you draw into it 3 times, you summon 2 golems, shuffle back into it. The very first time you summon one, it's going to be a 1-1. The next time it's going to be a 2-2. And so on and so forth, up to 30-30. You can cycle through your entire deck really fast, and you win the game by playing 1 rare card. As you might notice, we only play 3 legendaries. Untapped potential is pretty much only there because of Jade Idol. The card is not needed, it just makes it faster, because instead of shuffling once and then summoning 2 Jade Golem, you just play it. Not needed. Good if you have it though. Vargheth should be free, just in case you didn't start playing 6, 7, 8 months ago when he was free. He's only in here for Oaken Summons. That's the only point he's in here. You play Oaken Summons, get a fodder from your deck. If it is Vargheth, you get another 6 armor, summon another minion for free. It's pretty good. The 10 mana legendary Kuhn in here is also not needed. Great if you have him. Don't craft him if you don't have him. Just play a second spreading plaque. For Hunter, we got Mech Hunter. Really cheap. The best thing is the Mech archetype also carries over to Paladin, so you can craft the cards actually for 2 classes. You play Mech Whopper into Galvanizer, reduce your entire hand, play every single card, go face. That's how this works. Snip Snap should be free for you in case you don't have him. You kinda have to craft him. Ziliax is the most played legendary. I kinda assume you have that. If not, you don't have to play him. Smog and go face. For Mage, you smog and go face, but instead of playing lots of minions, you just play lots of spells and effects. Now, Secret Mage is a pain for every person to face because it's so good. You have like 60-70 damage. And the only legendary you actually need in here is Alunath, the legendary weapon that draws you 3 cards. Stargazer Luna is optional, not needed. Just play any other secret instead of her, if you don't have her. Ice Block, the only epic card. And Ice Block is a staple in Mage. So if you like Mage, get the Ice Block. Now for Paladin, same with Hunter. You see the same mechs in here, because mechs are really good. You don't need any epics. This is a tier 1 deck. How does it work? You play Christology and buff your hand. Your opponent plays an aggressive deck, divine your taunt. You know how much fun it is to go through a 20 health taunt minion that has 8 attack or more on turn 4? Not so much, but you could be one of them. So for Priest, there's one big downside. Priest is just not good. I could give you something like a Divine Spirit Inner Fire deck, but I've not seen a single one playing that in the past 6 months. So I would rather give you a deck where I know it works. You might see 5-6 legendaries in here. If you play Torqueggle and Mirrorzound, Torqueggle swaps decks. Your opponent gets a spell that swaps those decks back. Pretty much your whole game plan is you cycle through your entire deck, so you draw until you have 0 cards left. You swap decks, your opponent swaps back, you play Mirrorzound, cast the spell he just played, and you keep the opponent's deck. Priest is really expensive and wild. So this will be the go-to deck right now, I guess. Now for Rogue, Pirates. Pirate or Odd Rogue, there's no big difference. Both are really aggressive, both play lots of pirates. What is your strategy? Play aggressive, but usually just go face. Patches is so good. I know it's just a 1-1 legendary, and if you're new to Hearthstone, the mindset is usually legendary good, has big stats, great effect. Patches might look like he does nothing because it's a 1-1 for free, but the pathway is for free and comes out of your deck, or deals 2 damage because of ship's cannon, that wins you the game. I'm not a big fan of Mares. The card draws the rest of your deck until you have 10 cards, and then, your deck blows up. You probably should play it, because usually you have like 1 card left in your hand, then you refill. I don't like it too much, but I lost to it a lot of times. Nerkium for Mechanical Whelp, like in Standard. Just, play aggressive. In Shaman, you know what we can do? We can go face. Even Shaman has been around for over 2 years. The list didn't really change much. Again, is obviously needed for the even effect. Vecina is kind of a 50-50. Maybe you just want to play second Totemic Surge instead of her, but she's really good. For Warlock, the most played Warlock decks are Even Warlock, Arena Warlock, we have like 15 legendaries, which is way too expensive, and Mechithon. Now the thing is, all of those decks are way too expensive, so you probably have most of the zoo cards anyways, Galakrond is free, and you don't even need Kronks in here. Zoo is straightforward, play a big board, go in. Lastly for Warrior, the Warrior deck everybody talks about in Wild, I guess. Pirate Warrior. Smog. Again, just Smog. We see Patches again because he's pretty good. Ankar. I would say Ankar is needed. It just makes the deck so much better because you have a draw engine while dealing damage. Leroy, classic, you go face. You can just play Wolf Rider or something. Just any card that has charge. If we sum up all 9 decks real quick, they're all aggressive, besides the Priest deck and the Druid deck. But yeah, all those decks are at least tier 2. If you just play any of those decks, you can go to Legend. All the codes of that in the description down below. If you followed the advice and bought every single pack until you get a legendary, you probably get some really bad legendaries, you get some cards you've never heard of, and you get some things where you think they could work, but they can't really work. If you really just start out and you're ranked 25, if you would ever like to play your own homebrew deck, any idea you ever had in Hearthstone, please do so at the low ranks. If you try to do that at rank 5 and above, you will end up having a really bad win rate. But if you just want to win and, rank up, go face. Play the dice I gave you. For the last part of this video, I would like to give you some advice for where you can check in on wild content for yourself. So instead of relying on me making a video like once every 2 months, here's how you can do it yourself. What I mainly use for decks is hsdecks.net. I probably misspelled the link, but this website. This guy on Twitter called NeonHS has a website in which he features every single wild and standard deck that gets to legend. He only takes those decks on Twitter, which brings us to number 2. A deck didn't get posted? Well, where might it be? HSreplay. It's free. Now you might just see standard. In the list at the left side, you can select wild. Option number 3, which is by far the best option you can do though. It takes the least amount of time and is probably the most accurate. You go into your collection manager and select the card you would like to play. Do you have something like an archetype already? Imagine you would like to play Jade Druid. You put in the Jade Idols. You select done. That's it. The collection manager is automatically going to build you the best deck with the cards you have available. But you know what is even better? A place where over 1,400 people that talk about Hearthstone are. And it's our Discord server where you can join for free. Link for that also in the description. We talk about Hearthstone, talk about card games, talk about anything. At any given point, there are at least like 250 people online and multiple people in chat. If you ever have a question directly and would like to get a response to a deck, maybe even my thoughts, just join. It's a nice place. And with that being said, the very last place where you could look at decks is this YouTube channel. You can subscribe down below if you have liked for this video. And let me know if there's anything that I missed out on. So if you have anything to say, please leave it in the comments down below. I'm always looking forward to read them. If there's something I missed or multiple things I missed, I will pin them at the top comment. Thank you very much for your time. My name is Solem, and I hope this video helped you at least a little bit. Take care.